Hello, everyone. My name is Jean, and today I'd like to talk about social comparison theory with everyone. So let's get it. So first, what is social comparison theory? It's a theory that initially proposed by social psychologist Leon Feinstein in 1954. Basically, this theory centers on the belief that there is a drive within self to gain accurate self-evaluations. And the theory further explains how individuals evaluate their own opinions and abilities by comparing themselves to others in order to reduce uncertainty. So basically, think about the idea of benchmarking against others. You don't know how well you're doing if you don't compare yourself with the benchmark. So let's talk about the motives to self-comparison. So the first one, which is the earlier theory based on the idea of self-evaluation. According to Thornton and Arrowwood, self-evaluation is one of the functions of social comparison, and the theory says people like to find similar targets because it generates a more accurate self-evaluation than other things. But keep in mind that people may not always be unbiased when they conduct self-evaluation. But later on, the theory advanced, and some researchers have said that there are also self-enhancement as motives to self-comparison. It's more of for people in order to improve self-esteem and positive enhancement. And there are two types of self-enhancement: upward and downward comparison, which I will talk more in detail. And unlike self-evaluation, self-enhancement, the target for self-enhancement may not always be similar. So, as I mentioned earlier, there are two types of self-enhancement comparison. One's upward comparison, the other one's downward comparison. So for upward comparison, you like to find targets who are more similar to you. And on the other hand, for downward comparison, you have this association with the targets. And secondly, for upward comparison, it's good with individuals who have high self-esteem, where for downward comparison, it's good with individuals who recently had a threat to self-esteem. So an upwards comparison, it's more for improving your views towards oneself, where the downward comparison is more of a defensive tendency to feel better about oneself. So one example I'd like to share with you guys is the recent trend of fitness tracker. So you will join a group and you will record your exercise for the day or for the week for a time period, and then you compare with your peers within the group. So how well you feel about yourself reaching exercise goal is really dependent on your comparison to your peers. So when you think about upward or downward comparison, one example for upward comparison would be something like, I'm almost number one in the group, I just need to work a bit harder tomorrow. For downward, you will look down to people who are behind you. You would say things like, wow, I'm actually exercising more than half of my peers. Good job, myself. Both of them have a positive influence on individuals, and it's more of a self-enhancement comparison. And then I have another example, which more would be negative feelings to individuals, is when you admit to top schools, say top colleges. So a lot of people feel that they used to be highest grade in class in high school compared to average performance, and then when they transfer or admit to top college, they become an average performer. And then people usually feel a little bit negative or down when they find out they're not the top of the class anymore because their benchmark changed, right? First they were the top of the class, then now they're just average, although they might be doing better overall than most of the individuals out there. And an example for upward comparison would be something like, I need to study harder and I'll be number one in class like Verdor again. A downwards comparison would be like, although I'm not Verdor, who's number one in our class, I'm still doing better than Ozib, which is average performance. And then I can eventually catch up one day. So both of them have a positive re-enhancement. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope this is helpful in some way for your understanding about social comparison theory. My name is Jean. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to email me and enjoy this picture here. Bye.